All right, so are you ready to dive into the world of Sarah Paulson in American Horror Story?
Let's do it.
We've got a really cool combo of sources today. A video essay ranking Paulson's AHS characters and a YouTube video listing a fan's top 10 favorites.
Okay. Yeah.
So we're going to be talking iconic characters, chilling performances,
Right.
and maybe even spark some debate about which role reigns supreme.
Ooh, I'm ready.
Are you ready to relive some of the most memorable moments from American Horror Story?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go.
So what I think is so interesting is we've got two different perspectives here, right?
Yeah.
One is a super in-depth look at like the technical side of Paulson's acting.
Uh-huh.
And then the other one is like this awesome glimpse into, AHS fandom.
Right, like a real fan's perspective.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so let's start with the video essay.
Okay.
It's by Mary Girl Moody.
Oh, yeah, I've seen her stuff.
She doesn't just list the characters. She really breaks down why certain performances stand out.
Right.
It's pretty insightful.
Yeah, it is. I mean, what I find fascinating is how she picks up on these like recurring themes in Paulson's roles.
Uh-huh.
Like, she often plays characters who start out, seemingly vulnerable.
Yeah.
But then like totally transform into these positions of power.
Oh, that is so true.
It's wild.
Like Lana Winters from Asylum.
Oh, yeah. Great example.
She starts off as this super determined reporter,
Uh-huh.
but then ends up enduring these just horrific experiences in the asylum.
Totally.
But she never gives up.
Right. And I think that's a huge part of why Lana is so popular.
Yeah.
She's resilient, but it's not just about being strong.
Yeah.
It's how she uses her intelligence and her cunning to survive.
Mm.
Think about how she manipulates Dr. Thredson.
Oh my gosh.
It's brilliant.
So messed up.
It is, but it's like a testament to the writing.
Yeah.
And also Paulson's ability to portray a character who's both vulnerable and incredibly shrewd.
At the same time.
At the same time, exactly.
It's amazing. So what about the total contrast between Lana and someone like Hypodermic Sally from Hotel?
Oh, yeah.
Which Mary Girl Moody actually ranks as her #1 favorite.
I know, right?
It's interesting.
It is, and I think it really highlights the, just the diversity of Paulson's characters.
Yeah.
And also what resonates with the fandom.
Yeah.
Sally is this tragic, deeply flawed character driven by addiction and this desperate need for connection.
So true.
It's fascinating to me that a character who's so clearly broken can be so captivating.
I get it. Sally's pain is just so palpable.
Right.
But do you think it's one of Paulson's best performances?
That's a really good question.
Or does the darkness of the character overshadow her acting?
I don't know. It's definitely a powerful performance.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I think Paulson's more nuanced roles, like Cordelia Goode in Coven, showcase a different kind of mastery.
Oh, absolutely. Cordelia starts off in her mother's shadow.
Yes.
But ultimately embraces her destiny as the supreme.
Right? It's not just about Cordelia's strength. It's about her growth, you know?
Yeah.
Paulson so subtly portrays Cordelia's journey from insecurity to owning her power,
Totally.
And I think that transformation resonates with viewers on a deeper level. Maybe because it taps into those universal themes of self-discovery and fulfilling your potential.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
It's a more internal performance compared to, say, the over-the-top wickedness of a character like Wilhelmina Venable.
Oh, yeah.
From Apocalypse.
Right.
Who also appears high on Mary Girl Moody's list.
She does.
That's interesting.
I mean, Venable is just this delicious villain, so ruthless and manipulative.
Yeah.
Hiding this well of insecurity beneath that icy exterior.
Right.
And the way Paulson delivers those cutting one-liners.
Oh my God.
It's pure camp.
Okay, so before we move on.
Yeah.
We have to address the elephant, or rather the hashtag in the room.
Oh, yeah.
Save Sarah Paulson.
Save Sarah Paulson.
Mary Girl Moody mentioned it in her video. It's so funny.
Hey, it is.
It's like the fans' tongue-in-cheek campaign to protect Sarah Paulson from the often grueling demands of her AHS roles.
Exactly.
It's just so funny.
It's great.
But it also raises an interesting question.
Yeah.
Does AHS rely too heavily on Paulson's willingness to portray trauma and suffering?
That's a good point.
Something to think about.
It is.
But okay, it seems Paulson has this knack for creating characters that just linger in the audience's minds long after the credits roll.
Totally.
Speaking of lingering, I think we need to talk about Billie Dean Howard.
Oh, yes.
The psychic who pops up in Murder House, Hotel, and Apocalypse.
I love her.
Ooh, yes. What do you make of her?
Oh, she's so quirky.
She is.
I mean, she's a fantastic example of how Paulson can take even a relatively small role and turn it into something so memorable.
Totally.
Billie Dean is this, like, blend of folksy charm and, like, genuine insight into the supernatural. I think her appeal lies in the contrast between her seemingly unassuming nature and the profound things that she says.
Oh, that's true?
It's almost like she's winking at the audience, you know, like letting them in on a secret.
She's definitely got that mysterious aura.
Yes.
And her predictions always leave you wanting more.
Totally.
Like, what's going to happen?
It's almost as if she's like a conduit between the real world and the supernatural realm of AHS.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Okay, this deep dive is already proving to be quite the journey.
Oh, no, right.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
We have so much more to talk about.
Right. And speaking of surfaces, we need to dive a little deeper into Paulson's ability to portray transformation.
Okay.
Allie Mayfair-Richards from Cult.
Oh, yes.
Is a prime example.
Allie, she begins as this woman who's like riddled with phobias and anxieties.
Yeah.
And ends up a political powerhouse.
I know.
Talk about a character arc.
It's wild.
It is.
And you know what's particularly interesting about Allie's journey?
What's that?
It feels so relevant to today's world.
Yeah.
We're living in a time of like heightened anxiety, and Allie's transformation, while extreme, speaks to this like universal desire to overcome our fears and find our own power.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a testament to Paulson's ability to ground her performances in relatable human emotions, even within the heightened reality of American horror story.
Right, because it is a heightened reality.
Yeah, totally.
But she makes it feel so real.
Oh, she does.
Okay, before we get too carried away with Allie's empowering journey.
Okay.
I want to touch on something that both the video essay and the fans' top 10 list highlighted. Paulson's range.
Oh, yes.
Her ability to embody such a diverse array of characters is truly remarkable.
It is.
It's mind-boggling.
It is.
From vulnerable victims to powerful figures to downright terrifying villains. She does it all.
She really does.
But how does she do it?
I know, right? That's the question that keeps me coming back to her performances.
I know, me too.
It's like she disappears into each role completely.
She does.
But it's more than just like disappearing. It's about transformation. You know, think about the physicality of her characters.
Okay.
The way she carries herself, her posture, her gait. It's all meticulously crafted to embody each persona.
You're so right.
It's amazing.
Well, the way she uses her voice is fascinating, too.
Totally.
Take Bette and Dot. The subtle shifts in pitch and tone to differentiate the twins are incredible.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And let's not forget the power of her eyes.
Oh, yeah.
They convey so much emotion.
They do.
Even when her characters are, like, masked or heavily made up.
Right.
It's like she's acting with her entire being.
It's true. The way she uses her eyes to communicate fear, vulnerability, or like steely determination is masterful.
Yeah.
It's no wonder she's become such a fan favorite.
It's true. She's phenomenal.
Speaking of fan favorites.
Okay.
Let's transition to that YouTube video.
Okay.
Listing Mary Girl Moody's top 10 Sarah Paulson AHS characters.
Yes. Let's get into it.
Well, let's delve into the heart of the AHS fandom.
Okay.
We've already talked about Sally and Wilhelmina Venable.
Right.
But there are some other intriguing choices on her list that I'd love to unpack.
Okay, so one that really caught my eye was Audrey Tindall.
Oh, yeah.
From Roanoke.
Okay.
Which was a season that, like, divided a lot of fans.
Oh, yeah. Roanoke was definitely a wild ride.
It was.
So what do you think it is about Audrey that resonated with Mary Girl Moody and maybe even other fans?
You know, I think Audrey represents a specific kind of Paulson character that fans just adore. The woman who is initially presented as, you know, somewhat frivolous or even ditzy, but who ultimately reveals these hidden depths of strength and resourcefulness.
Like, you think she's just this pampered actress.
Right.
And then, boom, she's facing down this murderous hillbilly clan.
I know.
With, like, surprising grit.
Exactly. And Paulson plays those layers so brilliantly.
She does.
You know, Audrey's fear is palpable.
Oh, yeah.
But there's this steely core to her that emerges as she fights for survival.
So true.
You know, it's a reminder that sometimes the people we underestimate the most are the ones who surprise us the most.
And it makes you wonder, like, is Paulson drawn to these roles or are they drawn to her?
Right.
Like, is there something about her personality or her energy
Yeah.
that makes her so believable as these women who defy expectations?
That's such a fascinating question.
It is.
I don't know, maybe it's her ability to convey both vulnerability and strength at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, she never lets one overshadow the other. And that's what makes her characters feel so authentic and human.
That's such a good point. It's like she's constantly reminding us that even the strongest among us can be scared.
Right.
And even the most seemingly fragile can, like, rise to the occasion.
Absolutely. And that complexity is what makes her performances so compelling. It's never just black and white with Paulson's characters.
Right.
There are always shades of gray.
It's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we move on, I want to touch on a character that's near and dear to my heart.
Okay.
Cordelia Goode.
Oh, yes.
We've already talked about her journey to becoming the Supreme.
Right.
But I want to delve into, like, what makes her such an iconic figure in the AHS universe.
Cordelia, the reluctant leader, who ultimately rises to the challenge, protecting her coven and fighting for the future of witches everywhere.
Yes.
What's so fascinating is how she embodies both the nurturing and fierce aspects of feminine power.
Absolutely. She's both a mother figure to her coven and a warrior queen willing to sacrifice everything for those she loves.
And she's not afraid to get her hands dirty, literally.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that scene where she digs into her mother's grave?
Oh, my God.
To retrieve the vital organ she needs to survive?
Yeah.
Talk about a powerful metaphor for confronting the past and claiming your power.
That scene gave me chills.
It's amazing.
It's like she's literally unearthing the strength buried within herself.
It's a pivotal moment for Cordelia, and Paulson plays it with such raw emotion.
She does.
It's both terrifying and empowering.
Okay, so we've talked about characters who are resilient, characters who are deeply flawed, and characters who embody power. But what about the characters who are just plain weird?
Oh, yeah.
We'd be remiss if we didn't mention one of Paulson's most eccentric roles.
Okay.
The conjoined twins, Bette and Tattler from Freak Show.
Ah, yes, the Tattler sisters.
Such a great season.
It is a brilliant showcase of Paulson's technical skills and her ability to inhabit two distinct personalities simultaneously.
It's mind-blowing to think that she's playing both characters.
Right.
Using, like, subtle shifts in voice and facial expressions to differentiate them.
Totally.
Did you know that she actually wore an earpiece?
Oh, wow.
So she could hear the pre-recorded dialogue for the other twin while filming?
That's incredible.
Talk about dedication.
It speaks to her commitment to the craft and her willingness to push boundaries.
For sure.
And what's so compelling about Bette and Dot is that they challenge our preconceived notions of what it means to be normal or whole.
Right.
You know, they force us to confront our own biases and fears about difference. And in a way, they represent the heart of what American Horror Story is all about.
What's that?
Exploring the dark underbelly of society.
Right.
And challenging the very idea of what we consider monstrous.
That's a great point.
Right.
Okay, speaking of monstrous.
Oh, yeah.
Mary Girl Moody included a character on her list that I found quite intriguing.
Okay, who's that?
Mayfair-Richards from Cult.
Ah, yes.
Her journey is such a fascinating study and transformation.
It is. She starts out as this woman plagued by phobias and anxieties, almost a caricature of liberal fears.
Right.
And ends up this powerful political figure.
It's such a sharp turn.
It is.
And some might even say it's a bit outlandish.
Right.
But Paulson's performance is so nuanced and layered that you can't help but get swept up in Allie's evolution, however improbable it might seem.
Totally, I agree.
It's like she's tapped into something very real about our current social and political climate. Like the sense of anxiety and unrest, the desire for change, even if that change comes at a cost.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Allie's story is a reflection of our times.
It is.
And Paulson's portrayal just makes it all the more potent. And unsettling.
It's so true. I love that we're digging into these deeper themes.
Me too.
It's what makes this deep dive so engaging.
Right.
We're not just listing characters and plot points.
Yeah.
We're exploring the ideas and the emotions that make Paulson's work so resonant.
Exactly. And speaking of resonance, I think we need to address one of the most enduring mysteries surrounding Sarah Paulson and American Horror Story.
What's that?
What happened to Billie Dean Howard?
Oh, the enigmatic Billie Dean.
You're right.
The psychic who appears in multiple seasons, dropping cryptic clues and pronouncements that leave us wondering, like, what does she know?
Right.
And what are her true motives?
It's like she's this recurring Greek chorus, commenting on the events of the show from this place of otherworldly knowledge.
Yeah, and her appearances always feel so significant, like she's holding a piece of the puzzle that we haven't quite figured out yet.
It's almost as if Ryan Murphy is dangling her in front of us, knowing how much fans love her and are eager to see her story unfold further.
Right, and it makes you wonder, like, is there a grand plan for Billie Dean?
Yeah.
Will she play a pivotal role in a future season? Or is she destined to remain this, like, tantalizing enigma forever on the periphery of the AHS universe?
Only time will tell.
So true.
But one thing is for sure.
What's that?
Billie Dean Howard is a character that continues to fascinate and intrigue fans. And that's a testament to Paulson's ability to create lasting impressions.
Yeah.
Even with limited screen time.
It's amazing. Speaking of lasting impressions.
Okay.
We can't wrap up this deep dive without acknowledging the incredible range and versatility that Sarah Paulson brings to her roles.
Absolutely. She's played victims, heroes, villains, and everything in between.
It's true.
She's transformed herself physically and emotionally for each role.
Yeah.
Embracing the grotesque, the tragic, and the sublime with equal measure.
It's like she has no limits.
She's amazing.
She's willing to go to any length to bring a character to life.
Yeah.
And that fearlessness is what makes her performances so captivating.
And what's truly remarkable is that she never seems to repeat herself. Each character feels fresh and unique, even when she's playing multiple roles in a single season.
It's true.
It's like she's constantly challenging herself to explore new facets of her talent.
It's inspiring, really.
It is.
It makes you want to push your own boundaries and embrace the unknown.
Absolutely. Sarah Paulson is a true artist.
She is.
Constantly evolving and pushing the limits of what's possible in the world of acting.
All right, before we get too philosophical, let's bring it back to Mary Moody's top 10 list.
Yes, let's do it.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
But there are still a few characters we haven't touched on.
Okay, let's hear it. Okay, so another one that stood out to me was Shelby Miller from Roanoke.
Oh, yeah, Shelby. Now, that's a character who goes through a lot.
She does.
From a yoga-loving city dweller to a traumatized survivor of a Roanoke nightmare she's put through the ringer.
She is, and Paulson portrays that descent into fear and desperation so convincingly.
She really does. And what's so interesting is how Shelby's initial, like, skepticism and naivete gradually give way to this, like, primal understanding of the horrors that she's facing.
Right. She goes from being a passive observer to an active participant in the fight for survival.
And that transformation is what makes Shelby such a compelling character.
Right.
She's not just a victim. She's a survivor who ultimately embraces her own strength and resilience.
And it's another example of Paulson's ability to portray characters who are both vulnerable and strong, often simultaneously.
It really is.
You know, she has this knack for finding the humanity in even the most extreme situations.
Yeah.
And that's what makes her performances so relatable, even when the stories themselves are incredibly outlandish.
It's that ability to connect with the audience on an emotional level.
Right.
To make us feel what her characters are feeling. That sets Paulson apart.
I completely agree. She's a master of conveying emotion, whether it's subtle or explosive, and that's what makes her character so memorable and impactful.
Right. We talked about Shelby.
Yeah.
But there's one more character on Mary Moody's list that I think deserves a shout-out.
Okay, who's that?
Wilhelmina Venable, the ruthless leader of Outpost 3 in Apocalypse.
Oh, yes. Venable, the icy queen, with a penchant for cruelty and a hidden well of insecurity.
She's a fantastic example of Paulson's ability to embrace, like, the camp and theatricality of American Horror Story.
Absolutely. She's over the top in all the right ways.
She is.
The way she delivers those biting one-liners, the way she commands attention with a mere glance, it's pure diva energy.
And Paulson clearly relishes playing a character who's so deliciously wicked.
Oh, yeah.
There's a scene where Venable is chastising her followers for their disobedience. And the way she throws a tantrum is both hilarious and terrifying.
It's amazing.
It's like she's channeling a classic Hollywood villain.
Yeah.
With a touch of Joan Crawford thrown in for good measure.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that Paulson is not afraid to have fun with her roles.
Yeah.
To embrace the absurdity and the darkness of American Horror Story with equal gusto.
And it's that willingness to play, to experiment, to push boundaries that makes her such an exciting actress to watch.
Right.
She's always keeping us guessing, always surprising us with new and unexpected choices.
Absolutely, she's a true chameleon, effortlessly shifting between genres and styles, always leaving us wanting more.
So where do we go from here? We've explored the depths of Sarah Paulson's American Horror Story characters, dissected fan favorites, and unpacked some of the recurring themes and motifs in her work. But what does it all mean?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
I think it's safe to say that Paulson's success in American Horror Story goes beyond just talent.
Okay.
You know, it's her fearlessness, her dedication, and her willingness to embrace the unconventional that have made her such an iconic figure in the horror genre.
I agree. And it's her ability to connect with audiences on a deeply emotional level.
Yeah.
To make us feel the terror, the pain, the joy, and the triumph of her characters that keeps us coming back for more.
Absolutely. And I think that's a testament to the power of great acting. To transport us to other worlds, to make us confront our fears, and to ultimately remind us of our shared humanity, even in the face of the monstrous and the macabre.
All right, before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier. The Save Sarah Paulson hashtag.
Oh, yes.
It's a humorous way for fans to express their concern for Paulson, given the often intense and demanding nature of her AHS roles.
Right. It's a testament to the deep affection and admiration that fans have for her.
For sure.
But it also raises some interesting questions about the nature of fandom.
Yeah.
And the line between entertainment and exploitation.
That's a great point. It makes you wonder how much is too much.
Right.
At what point does an actor's willingness to suffer for their art become something that we as viewers should question?
It's a complex issue with no easy answers.
It is.
But I think it's important to have these conversations, to acknowledge the emotional toll that certain roles can take, and to recognize that even the most talented and dedicated actors are human beings with limits.
Absolutely. And as fans, I think it's important to balance our enthusiasm with a sense of empathy and respect for the artists who bring these characters to life.
I couldn't agree more.
So what can we take away from this deep dive? What are the key insights that we can carry with us as we continue to explore the world of American Horror Story and the captivating performances of Sarah Paulson?
Well, I think one of the biggest takeaways is that Paulson's work is about so much more than just entertainment. It's about challenging norms, exploring the complexities of human nature, and pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the realm of acting.
Absolutely. She's an artist who is constantly evolving, always seeking new ways to surprise and delight her audience. And I think that's something to celebrate and admire.
I completely agree. And I think another important takeaway is the power of fandom.
Oh, yeah.
The way fans have embraced Paulson's work, analyzed her characters, and created a community around her performances is a testament to the enduring impact of great storytelling and the connections that we forge through art.
Right. It's a reminder that even in a world that can feel increasingly divided, there are still shared experiences that bring us together and make us feel less alone.
And that's a beautiful thing.
It is. All right, before we get too sentimental, I want to make sure we leave our listeners with something to ponder. We've talked about Paulson's range, her versatility, and her ability to embody a wide spectrum of characters. But what is it about her specifically that makes her so captivating?
That's a great question. Is it her intensity, her vulnerability, or perhaps her ability to convey a sense of mystery and intrigue?
Or maybe it's a combination of all those things, plus that certain je ne sais quoi that can't quite be defined.
Whatever it is, Sarah Paulson has an undeniable magnetism that draws us in and keeps us hooked.
And I think that's the magic of great acting. The ability to create characters that feel so real, so human, that they stay with us long after the final credits roll.
It's true.
Well, that's our deep dive into the world of Sarah Paulson and American Horror Story.
It's a good one.
We've explored fan favorites, dissected iconic performances, and really just gone deep into the complexities of her craft. But this is just the beginning.
It is.
There's a whole universe of Sarah Paulson performances out there waiting to be discovered.
Right.
So we encourage you to embark on your own exploration.
Absolutely.
Revisit your favorite seasons, dive into the ones you've missed.
Yeah.
And paying attention to the details, the nuances, the choices that make her work so unforgettable.
Yes, and maybe, just maybe, you'll discover something new about yourself along the way.
Happy watching.